If you've ever been underestimated by your own family who called you weak when you were actually fighting to walk, hit that like button and subscribe right now. You're not going to want to miss what happened next. My name is Elena Vasquez, and for 6 years, my family told everyone I was faking my muscular dystrophy diagnosis for attention. What they didn't know was that while they were recording videos to expose my deception, I was quietly building a $118 million adaptive technology company that revolutionized mobility devices for disabled people. And the video they filmed trying to prove I was lying? It became Exhibit A in their criminal trial for aggravated assault on a disabled person. But let me start from the beginning. I was 24 when the symptoms started. I'd been working as a software engineer at a tech startup in Austin, living my best life, training for a half marathon. Then came the muscle weakness that I couldn't explain. My legs would give out during runs. My hands would lose grip strength during typing. The fatigue was overwhelming. 9 months of testing. 17 specialists. Finally, diagnosis. Limb-girdle muscular dystrophy type 2A. Progressive, degenerative, incurable. My muscles would continue weakening until I'd need full-time wheelchair use. Timeline uncertain. Could be 5 years, could be 20. I called my family from the neurologist's office, devastated. My mom, a former nurse, was my first call. I thought she'd understand the medical reality. Muscular dystrophy? At 24? Elena, are you sure you're not just out of shape? She said. You should try exercising more consistently. My dad, a high school football coach obsessed with physical fitness, was worse. My players push through muscle fatigue all the time. This sounds like you need mental toughness training, not a diagnosis. My older sister Victoria, the golden child who'd gotten full athletic scholarships, laughed when I told her. So basically you're giving up on fitness and calling it a disease? That's convenient. That should have been my warning. Within 6 months, I'd progressed from occasional weakness to needing a cane. Within a year, I needed forearm crutches to walk more than short distances. My neurologist explained this was actually a moderate progression rate for my type of muscular dystrophy. Not particularly fast, not particularly slow. I had to leave my job. Typing became difficult as my hand muscles weakened. Walking to meetings was impossible. Standing for long periods triggered dangerous muscle fatigue that could cause falls. I moved back to San Antonio to be near family during the transition. Catastrophic mistake. My family didn't just disbelieve my diagnosis. They actively sabotaged my adaptation. Dad would hide my crutches. You don't need these. You're training your body to be dependent. He'd make me walk from the car to the house without support, insisting it was physical therapy. When I'd fall, and I did fall repeatedly, he'd say, "See? You're not even trying." Mom would forget to make the house accessible. Rugs I'd trip on stayed in hallways. Furniture blocked pathways. "We can't rearrange our entire house for your psychosomatic condition," she'd say. Victoria started a social media campaign about her sister who gave up on fitness and claimed disability instead. She'd post old photos of me running with captions like, "This is what giving up looks like," and current photos of me with crutches with captions like, "Victim mentality destroys people." The extended family believed Victoria. Of course they did. She was the athletic success story, the college volleyball star turned personal trainer. I was the software engineer who'd quit working and claimed disability in her mid-20s. But the cruelest part was how they treated my mobility aids. My crutches, custom-fitted, prescribed by my physical therapist, essential for my independence, became objects of mockery. Dad called them my drama props. Victoria would pose with them in mocking photos. Mom told relatives I used them when I want sympathy, not when I actually need them. The truth? I needed them every single time I used them. Limb-girdle muscular dystrophy affects the shoulder and hip muscles most severely. Without support, my legs would literally give out. Walking unassisted wasn't trying harder. It was dangerous. I had multiple falls in the first 2 years. Broken wrist from falling downstairs when Dad hid my crutches. Concussion from collapsing in the kitchen when Mom insisted I could walk normally if I just tried. Bruised ribs from falling in a parking lot when Victoria snatched my crutches away as a joke. Each injury was dismissed as my own clumsiness. "If you'd build muscle instead of depending on crutches, you wouldn't fall," Dad would say. The worst moment came at a family reunion 3 years ago. Victoria announced she was making a documentary called Exposed: When Family Members Fake Disability. The subject? Me. I'm going to prove Elena's lying about her muscular dystrophy, Victoria announced at dinner. She can walk when she thinks no one's watching. I've seen her. That's not true, I protested. I can walk short distances on good days, but that doesn't mean. Save it, Mom interrupted. Victoria's right. We need to stop enabling your delusions. This documentary will show everyone the truth. They started filming me constantly. At meals, during family events, in public places. They'd set up cameras to catch me walking without crutches, conveniently ignoring that I could walk maybe 10 steps before my muscles would fatigue dangerously. They'd edit the footage to show only moments when I wasn't actively using my crutches, removing all context. Victoria posted a compilation video titled, "The Faker: How My Sister Manipulates Everyone." It got 12,000 views. Hundreds of comments calling me a fraud, a scammer, a burden on the disability system. I reported the video for harassment. It was removed after 3 weeks, but the damage was done. Extended family members I'd never even met were messaging me, calling me shameful, demanding I confess. That was 2 years ago. That's when I decided to stop fighting for their belief and start building without their knowledge. What my family didn't know was that losing my software engineering job didn't end my career. It refocused it. I still had my programming skills. I still had connections in tech. And I had something new. Lived experience as a newly disabled person navigating a world built for able-bodied people. I started noticing problems everywhere. Mobility aids were ugly, expensive, poorly designed. Wheelchairs looked like medical equipment, not personal devices. Adaptive technology was either prohibitively costly or barely functional. I could solve these problems. I started designing adaptive technology from my bedroom. Custom CD software for modified mobility devices, 3D printable components for affordable adaptive equipment, smartphone apps that help disabled users navigate inaccessible spaces. I built a prototype-powered wheelchair controller that cost $200 instead of $2,000. I designed forearm crutches with built-in shock absorption and ergonomic grips. I created a navigation app that crowdsourced accessibility information. I launched a Kickstarter campaign for the wheelchair controller. It funded in 18 hours, raising $340,000. That's when I knew I had something bigger than a side project. I founded Adaptive Access Technologies with a mission: make disability adaptive equipment affordable, functional, and beautiful. We designed mobility aids that people wanted to use, not just needed to use. Within 6 months, I had 5 employees, 4 of whom were disabled. Within a year, we had contracts with 3 major medical equipment suppliers. Within 18 months, we'd sold 12,000 units of various adaptive devices. My signature product was the Modu chair, a modular wheelchair system where users could customize everything from color to control mechanisms to seating options. It looked like premium tech, not medical equipment. It cost $1,800 instead of the $8,000 plus standard for comparable wheelchairs. The disability community embraced us immediately. We understood their needs because we lived them. I'd design products while using my own crutches, while experiencing my own progression, while fighting my own accessibility battles. Within 2 years, Adaptive Access Technologies was valued at $118 million. We had 42 employees and distribution in 18 countries. I personally made $250,000 annually plus stock options. I bought an accessible home, wide doorways, roll-in shower, lowered counters, ramps instead of stairs. On days when my crutches were enough, I'd walk. On days when they weren't, I'd use my own Modu chair. Both were valid ways to exist in my space. I also connected with Dr. James Morrison, a neuromuscular specialist who'd been researching muscular dystrophy for 20 years. He'd seen Victoria's documentary video when a colleague sent it asking if it was legitimate medical evidence. That video shows medical abuse, Dr. Morrison told me when he tracked me down through disability advocacy networks. Your family is filming what they think is evidence of malingering. What they're actually documenting is a textbook case of disability progression and family-induced trauma. He offered to testify if I ever pursued legal action. He also started documenting my case. Genetic testing confirming my diagnosis, EMG results showing progressive muscle deterioration, physical therapy notes documenting my falls and injuries. Elena, what your family is doing is dangerous, Dr. Morrison said during one appointment. Forcing someone with limb-girdle muscular dystrophy to walk without support isn't tough love. It's reckless endangerment. Falls can cause serious injuries. Overexertion can accelerate muscle damage. They think they're helping, I said weakly. They're assaulting you, he corrected. And they're filming it. If they ever cross the line from neglect to active harm, you'll have evidence. So will I. I kept building my company, kept succeeding despite my family's sabotage, and kept all of it secret. Why? Because I needed to know if they'd love me without money. If they'd believe my diagnosis even when I wasn't successful. If they'd support me when they thought I had nothing. I already knew the answer. But I wanted them to prove it one final time. The Thanksgiving that changed everything was Mom's idea. A final family gathering before we stop enabling Elena's victim behavior, she announced in the family group chat. The invitation came with rules. Elena will not bring mobility aids. This is a crutch-free holiday. We need to see her walk normally or admit she's faking. I almost didn't go. But my lawyer, Patricia Gomez, convinced me otherwise. Elena, I've been reviewing the videos Victoria posted, Patricia said during our consultation 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. She deleted most of them after your reports, but I've archived everything. These videos show your family members physically forcing you to walk without prescribed medical devices, mocking your falls and documenting your injuries while laughing. She showed me the compilations she'd made. They were horrifying to watch objectively. In one clip, Dad yanked my crutches away, I fell hard and Victoria kept filming while laughing. In another, Mom demanded I walk across the room normally. I collapsed halfway and Dad said, "Stop being so dramatic." This is criminal assault and battery, Patricia continued. But juries need clear, undeniable evidence. If they try something similar at Thanksgiving and we can get them to film it themselves, we'll have everything we need. You want me to let them hurt me? I asked. I want you to document them hurting you one final time with their own cameras so we can stop them from hurting anyone else, Patricia corrected. Dr. Morrison has agreed to be present at a nearby location. I'll have Officer Davidson on standby. She specializes in disability abuse cases. If they assault you, we'll have immediate response and irrefutable evidence. I agreed. But I also prepared. I wore a hidden body camera, legal in Texas with single-party consent. I had my phone set to record audio. I'd gotten a medical examination from Dr. Morrison 2 days before Thanksgiving, documenting my current muscle strength and mobility level, so any injuries could be immediately attributed to the holiday incident. Thanksgiving was at my parents' house in San Antonio. 40 people, extended family, family friends, Dad's coaching colleagues, Mom's former nursing coworkers. I arrived with my crutches. Dad met me at the door. "You're not bringing those inside," he said flatly. "I need them. My diagnosis." "Your fake diagnosis," he interrupted. "Leave them in the car or don't come in. I can't walk safely without support." "Then I guess you can't come to Thanksgiving." He started closing the door. I made a decision. I left my crutches in the car. I'd walk the short distance inside, then sit for most of the event. It would be painful and dangerous, but I could manage briefly. Wrong decision. The moment I entered the house, Mom announced her plan. "Everyone, Elena has agreed to spend today without her props. We're going to see if her disability is real or psychosomatic." Victoria was filming. "Of course. Today is about exposure," Victoria announced to the room. "I've been documenting Elena's fake disability for 3 years. Today we're going to get the definitive proof." I sat down immediately, my leg muscles already trembling from the walk inside. Uncle Marco, Dad's brother and a physical therapist, approached me. "Elena, your mom says you can walk fine when you want to. Is that true?" "No. I have limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. I can walk very short distances, but my hip and shoulder muscles are progressively weakening." "Stand up," Dad ordered. I just walked inside. "I need to rest." "Stand up," he repeated loudly. The room went quiet. I stood unsteadily. My legs were already shaking. "Tao, walk to the kitchen," Mom said. "No support. Show everyone you've been lying." "I can't safely walk that far without." Dad grabbed my arm roughly, pulling me upright. "You're going to walk or you're going to admit you're faking." Victoria's camera was running, capturing everything. "Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from tonight." "Walk," Mom commanded. I took 3 steps. My right leg gave out. I started falling. Dad caught me but not gently, he shoved me back upright. Stop being dramatic. Walk. I took 4 more steps. My legs were trembling violently now, muscles failing. She's faking the shaking, Victoria narrated for her camera. Watch, she's going to pretend to fall. I wasn't pretending. My muscles were literally failing. This is what limb-girdle muscular dystrophy does. The muscles stop responding, stop supporting weight, stop functioning. I collapsed completely. I hit the hardwood floor hard. My left knee struck first, then my shoulder, then my head bounced off the floor. The room gasped. Several relatives moved forward to help. And oh, Dad shouted. Don't help her. This is part of her performance. I lay on the floor, pain radiating through my knee and shoulder, room spinning from the head impact. I tried to push myself up, but my arms wouldn't support my weight. The shoulder girdle muscles were too weak. Get up, Mom said coldly, standing over me. Stop playing victim. I can't, I gasped. My muscles, they're not. I need help. You need to stop lying, Victoria said, kneeling down to get a better camera angle of me on the floor. That's when Mom did it. Show everyone she's lying, Mom ordered Victoria. Get clear footage of this fake fall. Dad approached me again. Make her walk without support. Force her to stand. He grabbed both my arms and yanked me upright. My legs couldn't support my weight. I collapsed again immediately. He pulled me up again. I fell again. Victoria kept filming. This is proof she's not even trying. Watch, she's letting herself fall on purpose. I wasn't. My muscles were completely exhausted. Forcing someone with muscular dystrophy to repeatedly stand after muscle failure is like forcing someone with a broken leg to walk. The body part literally cannot function. Dad tried a 3rd time. This time when I collapsed, I hit the coffee table corner with my ribs. Sharp, intense pain. Possibly cracked ribs. I lay on the floor crying, unable to get up, in severe pain, while my father stood over me demanding I stop the performance. Several relatives were crying. Uncle Marco was on his phone. Aunt Sophia was yelling at my parents to stop. Then Patricia Gomez walked in. She'd been waiting outside. I'd given her a key, asked her to intervene if things escalated. She'd heard everything through my body camera audio feed. I'm Patricia Gomez, Ms. Vasquez's attorney, she announced. I'm invoking immediate protective custody under Texas dependent adult abuse laws. No one touch Elena. Officer Davidson followed her in uniform. San Antonio Police. I'm responding to a report of assault on a disabled person. The room froze. Patricia knelt beside me carefully. Elena, are you injured? Knee, shoulder, ribs, head, I managed. Can't stand. Muscles failed. Officer Davidson called for paramedics while Patricia documented my visible injuries with her phone. Mom tried to intervene. This is ridiculous. She's faking. Ma'am, I've been listening to audio from Elena's body camera for the past 45 minutes, Patricia said coldly. I have recordings of you ordering her to walk without prescribed medical devices, her father physically forcing her to stand despite her stating she couldn't, and you filming her collapse as proof she's faking. That's aggravated assault on a disabled person. She turned to Victoria. And you filmed everything. You've been creating documentary evidence of your family assaulting your disabled sister for 3 years. Victoria's face went white. I was exposing her lies. You were documenting felony assault, Officer Davidson corrected. The videos you posted online? We've archived all of them. The video you just recorded? That's Exhibit A. Paramedics arrived within 8 minutes. They confirmed I couldn't walk. My leg muscles were completely exhausted, a known complication of muscular dystrophy when pushed beyond capacity. They found significant bruising forming on my knee and ribs, possible concussion from the head impact and shoulder strain. They loaded me onto a stretcher. As they did, Dr. Morrison arrived. Patricia had called him the moment things escalated. I'm Dr. James Morrison, Elena's neurologist and a neuromuscular disease specialist, he announced to the room. I examined Elena 2 days ago. Her muscle strength scores were consistent with moderate limb-girdle muscular dystrophy progression. I documented that she requires bilateral forearm crutches for any walking beyond 10 to 15 steps. He looked at my parents. You forced her to walk over 30 steps without support. then physically lifted her repeatedly after muscle failure. Do you understand what that means? It means she needs to try harder, Dad said stubbornly. It means you caused muscle damage that could accelerate her disease progression, Dr. Morrison said, his voice icy. Limb-girdle muscular dystrophy is a degenerative muscle disease. Forcing someone to use failed muscles causes microscopic tearing that can worsen the dystrophy. You may have permanently damaged her remaining muscle function. Mom's face drained of color. We didn't know. You didn't want to know, Dr. Morrison corrected. Multiple doctors confirmed her diagnosis. You chose to disbelieve them. That's not ignorance. That's willful negligence resulting in harm. Officer Davidson stepped forward. Mr. and Mrs. Vasquez, I'm placing you under arrest for aggravated assault on a disabled person. You have the right to remain silent. This is insane. Dad shouted. She's our daughter. We were trying to help her. You were assaulting her, Officer Davidson corrected. And you filmed it yourselves. Victoria Vasquez, I'm also arresting you for assault. You physically participated in forcing your sister to walk beyond her capacity, and you documented the assault for distribution. As they were handcuffed, Patricia pulled out her tablet. Before they're transported, there's something else you all need to know, Patricia announced to the room. While you've been calling Elena a faker and a burden, she's been building something extraordinary. She turned the tablet to show the screen. Adaptive Access Technologies website, featuring my photo and title, Elena Vasquez, founder and CEO. Hit that subscribe button if you've ever had to prove your disability was real to people who should have believed you, because what happened next changed everything. Uncle Marco gasped. That's the company that made my clinic's new adaptive equipment. The ModuChair system. Elena founded it, Patricia continued. Adaptive Access Technologies is valued at $118 million. Elena's personal net worth is approximately $4.2 million. She's revolutionized affordable adaptive technology while managing the exact condition you claimed was fake. She pulled up another screen. But here's what you really need to see. Elena didn't just build a company while you abused her. She also paid for your mortgage. She looked at my parents. Remember when you almost lost the house to foreclosure 2 years ago? The anonymous investor who bought 60% of the mortgage and restructured your payments. Dad's eyes widened. That was Elena. She saved your home while you were filming videos to prove she was faking disability. You've been living in a house she owns majority stake in while forcing her to walk without medical devices and filming her falls. Patricia pulled out a folder. I have documentation of every assault. 23 videos Victoria posted online showing Elena falling, being mocked, being physically forced to walk. 14 documented injuries requiring medical treatment. 8 instances of Victoria or your parents taking Elena's crutches as motivation. 3 previous falls requiring ER visits. She turned to the assembled relatives. All of this was filmed by the family as proof Elena was faking. All of it is actually proof of systematic abuse of a disabled person. Every video is evidence. Every fall they laughed it was assault they documented. Victoria started crying. I thought I was helping expose a liar. You were documenting felony abuse, Patricia said flatly. And you were doing it for social media attention while your sister was building a multimillion-dollar company that helps disabled people worldwide. Patricia pulled out more documents. The Texas Penal Code is very clear. Aggravated assault on a disabled person carries a sentence of 2 to 20 years. Causing bodily injury while knowing the victim has a disability? That's a second-degree felony. She looked at the police officer. We have body camera footage from today. We have 3 years of their own video evidence. We have medical documentation of progressive injury. We have Dr. Morrison's expert testimony. This case is beyond solid, it's gift-wrapped. Officer Davidson nodded. The DA is going to love this. Family assault cases are hard to prove because they often lack evidence. You've got perpetrators who filmed themselves committing the crimes. As my parents and Victoria were let out in handcuffs, I was loaded into the ambulance. Before the doors closed, I looked at my family one last time. Uncle Marco was crying. Aunt Sophia looked horrified. Several relatives were comforting each other. You taught me exactly who you were, I said, my voice weak but clear. Every time you took my crutches. Every time you filmed me falling. Every time you chose cruelty over compassion. You showed me I couldn't trust you with my vulnerability. So I built success without you. I helped disabled people worldwide while you were trying to prove one disabled person was lying. Paper beats promises. Evidence beats denial. And video documentation of your abuse? That beats everything. You mistook my invisible illness for manipulation. You mistook my mobility aids for props. You mistook my survival for performance. And you filmed it all thinking you were exposing me. You exposed yourselves. Then the ambulance doors closed. I spent 4 days in the hospital. Severe muscle strain requiring 4 steroids to reduce inflammation. Cracked rib confirmed via X-ray. Grade 2 concussion requiring monitoring. Deep tissue bruising on my knee that would need physical therapy. Dr. Morrison stayed in close contact, documenting everything for the legal case. The muscle strain you sustained could set back your functional capacity by 6 to 12 months, he explained. Forcing dystrophic muscles beyond their capacity causes damage that doesn't heal the way healthy muscles do. While I recovered, Patricia moved forward with everything. Within 48 hours, my parents and Victoria were formally charged. Dad, aggravated assault on a disabled person, 2nd-degree felony. Reckless injury, 3rd-degree felony. Mom, same charges plus evidence tampering for trying to delete Victoria's videos after the arrest. Victoria, assault on a disabled person, 3rd-degree felony. Cyberbullying resulting in harm, misdemeanor. Distribution of abuse content, misdemeanor. The bail hearing was brutal for them. The judge reviewed the body camera footage from Thanksgiving. He watched me collapse 3 times, watched my father forcibly lift me, watched me hit the coffee table. This is one of the clearest cases of disability abuse I've seen, the judge stated. Bail is set at $100,000 each. And I'm issuing immediate restraining orders. Defendants are prohibited from any contact with the victim. They couldn't afford bail. They sat in county jail for 2 weeks before extended family scraped together bail money. Within 1 week the story went viral. Family arrested after videos they filmed to expose Faker became evidence of disability abuse. Victim is tech CEO who revolutionized adaptive equipment. The news coverage included clips from Victoria's videos, edited to show the full context of me falling and being mocked, not just the misleading compilations she'd posted. Disability rights advocates were outraged. Victoria's personal training business collapsed overnight. Clients canceled. The gym where she worked terminated her contract. Her social media accounts were flooded with thousands of comments condemning her abuse. Dad was fired from his coaching position. The school district released a statement. We cannot employ someone convicted of assaulting a disabled person. This behavior violates every value we teach our students. Mom lost her nursing license. The state board ruled that a former nurse who medically abused a disabled family member posed a risk to patients. Within 2 weeks, their house, the house I'd saved from foreclosure, was put up for emergency sale. Legal fees and loss of income meant they couldn't afford it. Within 1 month, plea deals were offered. They refused. They were convinced a jury would see their side, would understand they'd been trying to help. Their lawyers advised against trial. They ignored them. The trial was scheduled for 4 months after the incident. It lasted 3 days. The courtroom was packed. Disability rights advocates filled the gallery. News cameras lined the hallway outside. Patricia was brilliant. She presented the case methodically. Day 1. Medical evidence. Dr. Morrison testified for 3 hours, explaining limb girdle muscular dystrophy, showing my genetic test results, my EMG scans showing progressive muscle deterioration, my biopsy results. He showed photos of my muscle tissue at the cellular level, clear dystrophic changes that cannot be faked. Elena Vasquez has a documented genetic progressive muscle disease, Dr. Morrison stated. No amount of trying harder will improve her condition. Forcing her to walk without support doesn't build strength. It causes injury. The defendants weren't providing tough love. They were causing medical harm. Day 2 video evidence. This was devastating. Patricia played Victoria's videos chronologically. The jury watched 3 years of abuse compressed into 90 minutes. Me falling, being laughed at. My crutches being taken, me begging for them back. Me collapsing, the family calling it performance. Then Patricia played the body camera footage from Thanksgiving. The jury watched me walk 3 steps and collapse. Watched Dad yank me upright. Watched me fall again. Watched Mom order Victoria to get clear footage of this fake fall. Watched Dad force me to stand 3 times. Watched me hit the coffee table. 2 jurors were crying. The judge looked furious. The defendants filmed this themselves, Patricia stated. They thought they were creating evidence that Elena was faking. They created evidence of felony assault. Day 3. Character evidence. Patricia called 12 witnesses. Adaptive Access Technologies employees who testified about my work ethic and my genuine disability management. Dr. Morrison's colleagues who'd examined me. Physical therapists who documented my falls and injuries. Uncle Marco who testified that he'd witnessed the Thanksgiving assault and was horrified by his brother's behavior. Then Patricia called me. I wheeled into the courtroom in my Modi chair. My legs weren't reliable enough for crutches after the Thanksgiving incident. That itself was evidence of the lasting harm they'd caused. I testified for 2 hours. I explained my diagnosis, my symptoms, my progression. I explained how my family's abuse had made my medical management harder, more dangerous, more traumatic. They didn't just doubt my diagnosis, I said. They actively prevented me from safely managing my disability. They took prescribed medical devices. They forced me into situations that caused injury. They filmed my suffering and posted it online to mock me. And the worst part? They did this while I was achieving extraordinary success. I built a company that helps disabled people worldwide. I created affordable technology that changes lives. I did this while managing a progressive muscle disease and while enduring systematic family abuse. They called me weak. They called me a faker. They called me a burden. But I was stronger than all of them. I survived my disease and their cruelty. And I succeeded beyond anything they imagined. The defense tried to argue the family had good intentions, that they genuinely believed I was exaggerating, that the Thanksgiving incident was an accident. Patricia destroyed them in cross-examination. Did the defendants have access to medical records confirming the diagnosis? Yes. Did multiple doctors explain the condition to them? Yes. Did Elena repeatedly tell them she needed mobility aids? Yes. And did they film themselves taking those aids away and forcing her to walk anyway? Yes. Good intentions, or willful assault. The prosecution rested. Closing arguments took 30 minutes each. Patricia's closing was powerful. The defendants wanted to prove Elena was faking disability. They filmed 3 years of evidence. That evidence proved only one thing: their own cruelty. The Thanksgiving video shows aggravated assault captured by the perpetrators themselves. The verdict is obvious. The jury deliberated. 10 minutes. They came back. Guilty on all counts. The sentencing and aftermath. Sentencing was 2 weeks later. The judge was uncompromising. Dad. 7 years in state prison for aggravated assault on a disabled person, reckless injury and pattern of abuse. 5 years probation after release. $180,000 restitution for my medical costs and therapy. Mom. 5 years in state prison for aggravated assault, evidence tampering and pattern of abuse. 3 years probation. $120,000 restitution. Victoria. 3 years in state prison for assault and cyberbullying resulting in harm. 5 years probation. $95,000 restitution. Permanent ban from social media platforms per probation terms. This was systematic, documented, and horrifying abuse of a disabled family member, the judge stated. You filmed yourselves committing these crimes. You distributed the footage online. You showed no remorse until facing consequences. This sentence reflects the severity of your actions and aims to deter others from similar abuse. They're currently serving their sentences. I haven't visited. The restraining orders remain in effect even during their incarceration. My company continues thriving. We've expanded to 63 employees and launched the Modi Chair 2.0 with AI-assisted navigation. Valuation reached $167 million. We've sold over 40,000 adaptive devices worldwide. I'm in a relationship with someone I met through disability advocacy work. Marcus uses a wheelchair due to spinal cord injury. He's never once questioned if I'm really disabled or suggested I'm not trying hard enough. He understands good days and bad days, crutches and wheelchairs, visibility and invisibility of disability. My leg function has declined since the Thanksgiving incident. Dr. Morrison confirmed the forced muscle exertion accelerated my dystrophy progression by approximately 18 months. I now use my wheelchair full-time with occasional crutch use on very good days. Some people might see that as sad. I see it as freedom. I'm no longer fighting my body's reality. I'm accommodating it, adapting to it, thriving with it. Extended family members who stood by silently during the abuse have tried to apologize. Some I've accepted back into my life. Uncle Marco has proven through actions he's genuinely remorseful. Aunt Sophia volunteers at Adaptive Access helping test products. They've earned their way back through consistent support. Others remain permanently estranged. Silence during abuse is complicity in abuse. Last month I spoke at a disability rights conference. 500 people. Disabled activists, family members, healthcare providers, legal professionals. I told them my story. I showed them the Thanksgiving video, edited to protect my privacy but showing the assault clearly. The room was silent except for people crying. And I told them what I wish someone had told me 6 years ago. Your disability is real even when family denies it. Your mobility aids aren't props. They're medical devices. And anyone who takes them, who mocks them, who forces you to function without them isn't helping you. They're assaulting you. Document everything. Record everything. Because sometimes the only way to prove abuse is to let abusers document themselves. Build your life anyway. Build your success anyway. Build your accommodations anyway. And when they realize they were wrong, you don't have to forgive them. You don't have to give them access. You just have to keep existing in whatever form existence takes for you. The standing ovation was mixed. Some stood, some stayed seated, some raised their mobility aids. A room full of people who understood that participation looks different for everyone. That's my family now. As for my biological family, they're in prison. Their lives destroyed by their own cruelty, documented by their own cameras, proven by their own evidence. Sometimes people ask if I regret pressing charges. If I think prison is too harsh. If I should have shown mercy. The answer is no. They didn't show mercy when they took my crutches. They didn't show mercy when they filmed me falling. They didn't show mercy when they posted those videos online. They didn't show mercy when they forced me to walk until my muscles failed and I hit the floor 3 times. Why should I show them mercy they never showed me? They wanted proof I was faking. They got proof of their own crimes instead. That's not revenge. That's justice. That's consequence. That's a jury of their peers saying you're guilty, after 10 minutes of deliberation. I'm not a faker. I'm not weak. I'm not a burden. I'm a CEO, a disabled innovator, a survivor, a person who built something extraordinary while her family was documenting their own felonies trying to prove she wasn't really disabled. And if my family ever gets released from prison and sees this story, I hope they finally understand. You didn't expose my lie. You exposed your cruelty. You didn't prove I was faking. You proved you were dangerous. And the video you filmed, the one you thought would vindicate you, became Exhibit A in your conviction. Your cameras. Your evidence. Your prison sentence. If you've ever had to prove your disability was real to people who should have believed you, tell me your story in the comments. What would you have done? And if you're currently dealing with family who won't believe your condition, document everything with your own recordings, get medical professionals on your side, know your legal rights, and remember, your disability is real even if they deny it. Their denial doesn't change your reality. It reveals their character. Subscribe for more stories about people who proved everyone wrong. Because sometimes the best response to your faking is letting them document their own crimes while you quietly build an empire.